Outside Vin's residence. Over this weekend, you and Vin agree to watch a new movie release, but when you reach his home, oh, am I here earlier? Early? Vin probably isn't up yet. Oh well, I'm here anyway. I'll provide Vin with a wake up call service. With this in mind, you take out the spare key Vin had left with you and enter the house. Vin's bedroom. However, when you reach Vin's bedroom upstairs, you see a Persian cat sleeping on Vin's chest. Why is there a cat on Vin's bed? Could Vin have gotten a cat? Strange, I never heard him mention anything about it. The cat sleeping on his chest probably made Vin uncomfortable, evident by his furrowed eyebrows and pursed lips. Instead of being groomed as it usually was, his silver hair was draped casually in front of his forehead, revealing the mole underneath his eyes. There is no light in the room except for sunlight that came through the window, but it was enough to illuminate the room. It made Vin look even more fair-skinned. Did the cat sleep on his chest the entire night? Maybe I should remove the cat before waking Vin up. You look carefully at the long-haired Persian cat. He is white all over except for the tip of his nose and ears. His fur is very smooth, evidence of frequent grooming. He shouldn't be a stray cat. He is sleeping soundly curled up in a ball, his chest going up and down as he breathes. Suddenly, a loud chirping comes from outside the window, to which the cat only moves its ears. The cat is definitely sleeping more comfortably than Vin. Just as you're about to remove the cat, Vin awakens from his slumber. Feeling the heavy presence on his body, Vin frowns and reaches out to touch something furry.
No.
You couldn't help but laugh aloud because you rarely see Vin lose his nerves. Vin looks at you sleepily, his eyes full of helplessness. He looks at the cat in his arms and sighs gently.
전에 이 나라의 책에서 읽은 문구가 떠오르네요. 시냇가의 장작과 담요가 따뜻해서 나의 고양이는 문 밖에 나가는 걸 싫어한다. 이 고양이는 저를 아마 담요라고 생각하고 있는 것 같네요.
It sure loves this spot. At this point, the cat has already woken up as well. He yawns widely and then looks up to lock eyes with Vin. It turns out the cat has heterochromia. His emerald and amber pupils turn to sleep in the. He stands up and jumps over to the edge of the bed for a long stretch. Then he sits back down and starts grooming himself. Vin gets up helplessly, frowning slightly at the white cat hair all over the bed. Did you not bring this cat home with you? Vin shakes his head as he scans the bedroom.
어제 저녁에 잠들기 전까지만 해도 없었는데 아마 열어둔 창문 사이로 뛰어들어온 것 같네요.
The cat looks too clean to be a stray cat. It probably ran away from a neighbor's home.
이미 답이 나온 것 같네요.
Vin removes the cat's collar where a small nameplate is hung. He hands the nameplate over to you as you touch the cool tips of his fingers. Puff, if found, please contact. You see a phone number at the end.
이런 일이 한두 번 일어난 게 아닌가 봐요.
You and Vin call the number on the nameplate, but there is only the sound of a busy signal on the other end. Did the owner leave the wrong number? Finally, on the fourth call, someone picks up. You put it on speaker, and the first thing you hear is a jumbled voice from the other side. Hello, are you Puff's owner?
슈슈! 녀석이 또 도망 나갔나요?
네. 도망 나온 것도 모자라 제 침대 위에서 잠까지 잤죠.
이런, 정말 죄송합니다. 정말 신세를 많이 졌네요. 전 고우영이라 하고 안과 의사예요. 얼마 전 타지에서 의료 지원이 필요하다는 소식을 들었죠. 일주일 정도면 돌아갈 수 있을 줄 알았는데. 그래서 반려묘 위탁 관리 기간도 못 알아보고 집에 슈슈가 먹을 음식과 물만 준비해두고 나왔거든요.
그럼 슈슈는 왜...
제가 너무 급하게 나오느라 창문이랑 문이 잠겨 있는지 확인을 못했거든요. 슈슈, 이 말썽꾸러기 녀석. 슈슈가 똑똑해서 창문도 열 줄 알아요. 전에도 한번 가출한 적이 있는데 앞마당에서 몇 바퀴 돌고는 다시 집으로 돌아왔어요.
Godfrey Wyatt suddenly pauses, and you seem to hear him saying, Wait, I'll be right there. It seems he was responding to someone.
제가 조금 바빠서 아마 당분간은 못 돌아갈 것 같아요. 만약 괜찮으시다면 당분간 슈슈를 조금만 보살펴 주실 수 있나요? 만약 슈슈를 집으로 돌려보내면 같은 상황이 또 일어날 것 같아서요. 다음에도 두 분처럼 마음씨 착한 분을 만날지는 미지수잖아요. 물론 그에 맞는 금액을 지불해 드릴 테니 두 분...
You and Vin exchange a look and nod. Don't worry about the compensation, Dr. Wyatt. We wouldn't feel safe leaving Puff alone at home.
네. 돌아오실 때까지 저희가 잘 보살피고 있을게요.
정말 감사해요. 맞다. 슈슈는 낯을 많이 안 가리는데 잠자리를 많이 따지거든요. 아마 그 침대가 마음에 들어서 침실에 몰래 들어간 것 같네요. 정말 죄송합니다.
You are speechless for a moment when you think back to Vin's frowning expression when he was sleeping and Puff looking more like an owner than a guest.
그냥 작은 공간을 내주고 쉴 수 있도록 해주는 건데요. 별일 아니에요.
Rest assured, Dr. Wyatt, Puff sleeps well here.
네, 그럼 며칠 동안 잘 부탁드립니다. 무슨 문제 있으면 바로 연락 주세요.
네, 수시로 연락드릴게요.
Seeing your conversation come to an end, Puff meows lazily and acts cute by rolling over on the bed. Puff, it seems we'll be living together for a while. Looking at Puff's carefree attitude, you want to touch him. However, Puff pushes your hand away when you try. It seems Puff only likes this bed.
급할 필요 없어요. 고양이는 인간에게 완전히 길들여지지 않고 독립적인 동물이거든요. 가까이 다가가려면 그만큼 시간이 필요할 거예요.
Well, I believe you. We are more than capable of taking care of Puff. You open up the memo. Cat food, litter, pet food, bowls and toys. You go through all the things that Puff might need. Vin, is there anything I'm missing?
없는 것 같아요. 정말 세심하게 다 챙겼네요. 근데 무슨 맛 고양이 통조림을 먹는지는 고 선생님한테 물어봐야 할 것 같아요.
Alright. After arranging everything for Puff, you look at Vin again. You haven't had breakfast yet, right? I'll eat breakfast with you. We still have other plans for today. After the movie, we can pick up something for Puff on the way home. You and Vin are ready to head downstairs when Puff immediately runs to the center of the bed and enjoys the sunlight there.
며칠 동안 어쩔 수 없이 슈슈랑 같이 한 침대에서 자야겠네요.
Gardens of Vin's residence. Bowls of wool, tumblers, feather sticks. Huh? I can't find Puff's favorite toy mouse. Did you leave it somewhere after playing with Puff? Hmm. You and Vin searched the garden for some time but were unable to find the toy mouse. We've looked all over the garden, but strange how we still can't find it. Perhaps. Vin thinks for a moment and then his gaze locks on a cat bed. Puff is lying on it, grooming his fur. When he sees Vin coming over, he meows and jumps away. Found it. Vin bends down to put his head under the mat of the cat bed. When he stands up again, there is a toy mouse with cat hair in his hand. Ah, Puff had it hidden. Cats can be possessive of the things they like, and it seems Puff is no exception. The first floor of Vin's residence. Communicate with your pet freely. What a novelty device. Vin, what are you talking about? The pet sound communicator I just bought. Supposedly, it can translate the voice of humans and pets so they can communicate directly with each other. Does that mean I can use it to communicate with Puff? Yes, Puff has just begun his day and there are many things we do not know yet. Perhaps we can try to use it to communicate with Puff and build our trust with one another. Let's try it now. Yes, I am also curious how Puff will react to it. Garden of Vin's residence. When Vin walks into the garden, he finds you and Puff by a can of salmon staring at each other. What happened? Yeah, I'm observing Puff. Observing? Yeah, I opened a can of salmon for Puff just now, but he's just been staring at it with no intention of eating it. But salmon is his favorite flavor. I thought the can might have gone bad, so I picked it up to smell it. But when I had the can in my hands, Puff came over to eat it. The can seems to be fine, so I put it back on the ground. Now Puff won't eat it again. As you're talking, you pick up the can and hold it up to Puff, who begins to eat it again. Puff has even more of a personality than I imagined. It seems Puff is very reliant on you. Offering you his favorite food might be his way of expressing intimacy with you. Even the way Puff expresses affection is unique. Vin, is it like this when you feed Puff? Not at first, but now I always have to keep him company when he eats. Then Puff must also like you very much. Huh? Puff suddenly brings his toy mouse over to you, rubbing against your hands with his head. I think Puff wants to play with you. Puff, do you want to play? As Puff responds to you, he acts cute and rubs up against you. You can't help but scratch his chin. Vin, let's take Puff to the garden. Perfect, I wanted to invite you for afternoon tea. Garden of Vin's residence. Vin, you approach Vin only to discover he's carefully digging out lily bulbs. Huh? I remember you planted these lilies not long ago. Why are you digging them up? Plants like lilies are poisonous to cats. Puff has been playing around in the garden. I was worried he might ingest it by accident, so I plan on moving the lilies to the side. It is separated by a fence, so Puff avoids going there, which is safer for him. Vin is very considerate. Is there anything I can do to help? I am about done here. Later, would you like to plant the lilies with me again? Of course I would. Garden of Vin's residence. Puff, what is it? While cleaning up Puff's toy on the grass, you and Vin suddenly hear Puff's angry cries from not far away. Thinking that something has happened, you and Vin rush over to Puff's side only to find... Puff, you got your paws stuck again. This time it's the rattan chair. The last time was the curtains, and the last time before was the couch tassels. They are all evidence of your mischief. And you act cute every time to get us to forgive your mischief. Vin reaches out to carefully free Puff's paw from the rattan chair. With his newfound freedom, Puff lies on the chair acting cute again. I have no idea what to do with you. Just be careful next time. All of a sudden, Puff jumps into Vin's arms. Vin, you've got a cat hair all over you. It's fine. Lately, Puff has been jumping on me when I am distracted. I am used to it. Puff is content, but this poor clothes will take some time to clean. I will send it to the dry cleaners and have them wash it. Instead of going through so much trouble, why don't you let me try? I want to try out the new cat hair remover I bought yesterday. Garden of Vin's residence. What is it? You follow Vin's gaze to see Puff with a fierce expression and the fur on his back upright. I've never seen Puff like that before. Is there something in the garden? Let us check it out. Entering the garden, you and Vin spot a large gecko running away along the wall. With the gecko gone, Puff also returns to normal. It's okay, Puff. Seeing Puff's intense reaction just now, is he afraid of geckos? It is possible. However, it is possible that Puff has made the garden his home without even realizing it. I would not be happy to see an intruder in my home either. Well, you shouldn't infringe upon the owner's dignity. Puff, wait! However, before you can stop him, Puff sprints over to Vin's side and jumps on the fertilizer that he had just prepared. I couldn't stop him in time. It is fine, this will not take much time to clean up. But the same cannot be said for this mischievous cat. Picking Puff up, Vin inspects his paws, which are stained with dirt. Look, fine, fine, I'll have you clean up, but don't be so mischievous next time. Garden of Vin's residence. Want another cup of black tea? Sure. Just as Vin is about to get up, Puff jumps casually on the couch and rubs against Vin's knees, wanting Vin to pet him. Vin can't resist Puff when he's like this. You are getting more and more bull. Vin scratches Puff's chin. He squints, enjoying it so much that he starts rearing. You hold back a smile as you pour some tea for Vin, who looks back at you helplessly. Vin, you've become a large-sized cat home for Puff. Probably for Puff, she finds it especially comfortable sleeping next to people. By the time Dr. Wyatt comes back, Vin would have spoiled Puff to no end. Vin's bedroom. Puff doesn't cozy up to people. Despite being at Vin's home for several days, he still pays no attention to you or Vin. It is only at night when Puff is ready for bed that he goes over to Vin's side. However, Puff is more than comfortable with bossing you and Vin around. Whenever he wants a snack, he'll run to the cupboard and meow. Whenever he wants to enjoy sunlight, he'll scratch at the curtains to tell Vin to open them. To get closer to Puff, you and Vin bought some toys online. Why does it feel like the cat is the owner?
무슨 생각을 그렇게 해요?
I was just thinking if Puff will like the toys we bought.
그건 걱정 마세요. 여러 개를 골랐으니 하나씩 바꿔보면서 하면 되죠.
However, Puff, you want to play with the mouse? You swing the cat teeth once around in front of Puff, who watches the clothed mouse while lying on his pillow. At first, he was mildly interested, but he quickly loses interest in the cat teeth wand. What about the laser pointer? Instead of showing any interest, Puff yawns. You assemble a cat wheel and place it on the carpet. This time, Puff doesn't even acknowledge its existence. You think back to the advertisement on an online shopping website where you bought the toys. Over 1,000 sales, a combination of toys that your cats won't be able to resist. The effect is not quite as advertised. Are there any toys that Puff will like? You look to Vin for help. Upon seeing this, Vin only smiles.
아무래도 슈슈는 이 장난감보다 당신이 놀아주려고 노력하고 있는 모습을 보는 게 더 재미있다고 생각하는 것 같네요.
Don't tease me like that. Puff doesn't like any of the toys we bought. What should we do? Vin stares at Puff for a while. A smile appears on his face as if he thought of something. Then he walks over to the bookshelf. He proceeds to crumble a piece of paper and toss it toward Puff. Puff looks at the paper ball, then at you and Vin. Seeing that you and Vin aren't going to move, Puff seems to perk up and assumes a hunting posture before leaping at the paper ball. Not only that, Puff picks up the paper ball and places it in front of you, then quickly runs to hide under the table. You pick up the paper ball and toss it toward the window, followed by Puff sprinting at the paper ball. It seems Puff liked to play with paper balls. Good thing you thought of it, Vin.
그냥 슈슈처럼 똑똑한 고양이라면 누군가한테 끌려다니면서 움직이는 걸 싫어할 거라고 생각했거든요. 그래서 슈슈에게 자신이 이 게임을 주도하고 있다는 느낌을 주고 싶었어요.
Cats really are animals with character. You and Vin plays with Puff a while longer as he chases the paper ball all over the room. When Puff is tired, he loses interest in the paper ball, which he sniffs before walking over to you and Vin with his heels upright. He rubs against your leg, then meanders back to the bed for a nap. Garden of Vin's residence. It's been a while since Puff arrived at your home, and this paper ball has brought him closer to you and Vin. On a sunny day, you and Vin went to the garden outside for afternoon tea. Puff also came outside, basking in the warm sunlight. You scratch Puff's chin. He squints her eyes, enjoying it so much that he stretches his head back.
고양이랑만 놀지 말고 와서 디저트 좀 맛봐요.
On the plate is a tart-like dessert, but upon closer inspection, it doesn't look anything like a tart. The smooth golden surface of the dessert is garnished with lemon slices and meringues. Wow, a lemon tart! You pick up the lemon tart and carefully bite into it under Vin's gaze of anticipation. The meringue is sweet but not too much, while the butter neutralizes the acidity of the lemon, leaving the lemon's unique fragrance spreading through your lips and teeth. Vin, your desserts are getting more and more delicious.
맛있다니 다행이에요.
When you're done with the lemon tart, Vin takes out a handkerchief to wipe down your fingers. Hey, I didn't get any on my fingers.
그런가요? 그냥 슈슈가 손에서 나는 달콤한 향기를 맡을까봐.
Before Vin can finish his sentence, Puff suddenly jumps on the table and sniffs the edge of the plate.
쓸데없는 짓을 한 건 아니었네요.
Puff takes a long stretch on the table. He then jumps onto Vin and starts screaming himself. Puff is starting to like you.
슈슈의 이런 환대를 받고 있을 수밖에 없겠네요.
But that didn't last long. Suddenly, Puff started scratching his ears. Before either of you can stop Puff, you and Vin's clothes were all covered in cat's hair. You and Vin exchange a look in silence, then start laughing aloud. Now, neither of us can reject his hospitality. Puff looks at you and Vin innocently, as if the cat hair on your clothes have nothing to do with him. In that case, why don't we take this opportunity to groom Puff with a brush? Since Puff is a cat with a long hair, she will require grooming to get rid of the knots. Look, I even brought a brush with me. You hand the brush to Vin, who has a look of surprise on his face.
제가 비껴야 하나요?
Well, it will be easier since Puff is lying on you. Vin accepts the brush from you. After looking at Puff for a while, Vin starts to brush Puff, starting from the neck. Vin, have you never brushed a cat before?
네, 그래서 슈슈가 불편해할까봐 조금 걱정돼요.
Don't worry, I researched online. You just have to brush it gently.
노력해볼게요.
Vin movements are slow and awkward, but extremely detailed. Vin caresses Puff gently while brushing his fur. Soon Puff closes his eyes and begins to purr.
이러면 됐겠죠?
Yeah, I can't believe how much Puff sheds. Puff seems to understand you, meowing in protest. You respond by patting him on the head. Fine, fine, I won't complain about you anymore. Puff rubs against your hands and shows you and Vin his belly for the first time.
알았어. 내일도 비켜줄게.
The first floor of Vin's residence. Gradually, Puff begins to cozy up to you and Vin, treating Vin's home as his own home. Puff doesn't follow Vin everywhere, but he won't let him out of his sight. At this moment, he's sitting on the steps of the first floor licking his balls.
뭘 그렇게 봐요?
You and Vin are reading on the couch. He has his back against the couch while you lean gently into his embrace. You flip over the book cover for him to see. You're reading a novel on social commentary with a cat as the protagonist. After reading it, I can't help but wonder what Puff thinks of us. However, even if Puff knew how to talk, I doubt he would tell us.
그런가요? 전 오히려 슈슈가 저희를 사이좋은 커플이라 생각하고 당신의 아름다움과 선함을 칭찬할 것 같은데요.
Puff wouldn't know that.
저녁 먹을 시간이 다 됐네요. 엄청 신선한 연어를 받았는데 저녁 준비를 해줄게요.
Okay. I'll help out too.
연어 요리는 그렇게 복잡하지 않으니 괜찮아요.
Then I'll watch. By this point, Vin has already walked to the kitchen and began to prepare the ingredients. Puff, probably smelling the salmon, throws over and jumps onto the kitchen counter. Fortunately, you've acquired enough experience on how to deal with Puff and quickly pick him up. Even in your arms, Puff tries to escape to Vin's side. Puff, no!
며칠 동안 슈슈의 입맛이 정말 까다로워졌어요. 가장 좋아하는 통조림 빼고는 다른 건 쳐다도 안 보더라고요.
It's probably because Puff knows you always compromise and always give him his favorite flavor. Puff seems to really like salmon. Why don't we make some for him? Vin looks back at you, then at Puff in your arms, smiling.
알겠어요. 그럼 이제부터 조용히 해야 해. 알겠지?
Puff quiets down as he was told, staring at the salmon that Vin is preparing. About half an hour later, 2 servings of salmon over rice and a cat meal is ready. Puff promptly devours his meat. Afterwards, he jumps on the couch to lick his balls. Puff seems to like it.
당신의 입맛에는 잘 맞았나요?
You look up to meet Vin's golden eyes, overflowing with tenderness that slowly crept into your heart. Yeah, I like it too. Outside of Vin's residence. Oh no, I'm early again. 2 days ago, you and Vin received a message for Godfrey Wyatt. He's finally finished with his business trip and is returning to Salis. Thus, you and Vin agreed to send Puff home together. I left home at the usual time, but I arrived earlier than the agreed upon time. Is it because I'm too accustomed to going to Vin's home? Or is it because I wanted to see Vin? With your heart throbbing, you find your keys and head upstairs to the bedroom. Vin's bedroom. Vin is still asleep. A gust of wind blows into the room and gently lifts the curtains. Sunlight shines into the room through the crevices before receding like a tidal wave. Vin is sound asleep on his side, with Puff sleeping on him as usual. You stop to admire the scene of a man with a cat in this tranquil room. It was so quiet you can hear Puff snoring. It's always been like this ever since the first day Puff came here. He likes to sleep on Vin. It's been really hard on Vin lately. But this scene is kind of sweet. Yeah, I don't know if another opportunity like this will arise when Puff goes home. I should take some photos to capture the moment. I'm sure it will bring up fond memories when we look at them in the future. You open the camera and take many photos of Vin and Puff. That about does it. You browse over the photos you took just now, unaware that Vin woke up.
뭘 그렇게 봐요?
You look to find Vin already sitting up in a bed. Puff is awake as well, held in his arms. You sit down next to Vin. Upon seeing you, Puff inches over and shows you his belly. You rub Puff's belly a few times before handing your phones over to Vin to show him on the photos you just took. Look, Vin, I took many photos of you and Puff. Vin runs his long fingers across the screen as he looks over all the photos.
근데 이 사진들 다 똑같아 보이는걸요?
How could that be? Look at this photo. Your eyebrows are slightly tighter than the last photos. And this one, Puff is mumbling in his sleep, so his mouth is slightly open. And here. Puzzled, you look at Vin, smiling from his eyes. He looks at you with such tenderness, almost as if you were saying loving words, not pointing out the differences between the photos. Is it immature of me to fret over these small details? Vin puts his arms around you as he shakes his head.
아니요. 아주 작은 차이라도 바로 알아볼 수 있다는 건 그만큼 저를 신경 쓰고 있다는 거잖아요. 그래서 정말 기뻐요.
Don't get ahead of yourself. I was actually taking photos of Puff. Puff cries out to interrupt your lovey-dovey atmosphere, probably because you were ignoring him. You pick him up. Come on, Puff, let's get Vin out of bed. How about I groom you first? The first floor of Vin's residence. By the time you're done grooming Puff, Vin is already ready. Realizing this might be the last time you brush Puff, your heart is a bit reluctant.
왜 그래요?
We're sending Puff home today. Recalling our time spent together, I'm a bit reluctant to give him up. Vin cups his hand gently over yours. The warmth from his hands gradually calms your heart.
저도 알아요. 어느새 곁에 슈슈가 있는 것에 적응해버렸나 봐요. 이별은 피할 수 없으니 남은 시간 동안 아쉬움을 남기지 않도록 노력해보죠. 오늘 시간을 어떻게 보낼지 같이 생각해봐요.
Puff liked the cat meals we made for him last time. Why don't we make it for Puff again? I watched a tutorial on how to make a cat with meat and it wasn't that hard. And with you here, I'm sure Puff will definitely like it.
고양이 케이크요? 고양이 케이크는 한 번도 만들어 본 적 없지만 당신과 함께라면 뭐든지 괜찮아요.
In the kitchen, you and Vin find that there is no more salmon left. However, there is a box of snapper fillets in the fridge. Vin lets Puff smell the snappers and Puff starts meowing loudly with his tail in the air. Great, it looks like we can use snapper instead of salmon. Puff, not yet. Puff jumps onto the kitchen counter, probably knowing the snapper inside the box belongs to him. He doesn't cause any trouble this time, but just sit on the side watching.
제가 도미 손질을 할 테니 소고기 손질 좀 해줘요.
No problem. Vin purees the snapper and mix it with egg yolk and cat milk powder before pouring it into a mold. Preparing the beef is relatively simple. All you have to do is remove the fascia and then cut it into strips. After finishing with the preparations, you and Vin put the snapper and beef into the steamer for 20 minutes. Soon the air is tingling with the delicious scent of meat. Puff, not yet. Vin takes the snapper mix out of the mold after it's done steaming, and with that, a snapper cake is done. You use the processor to puree the beef and spread it over the cake as garnish. It's done, but it looks a bit simple. Vin looks at the snapper and thinks of a moment. Then he takes some sky grass and sprinkles it on top as garnish.
이러면 좀 낫죠?
Your eyes light up at the specks of dark green on top of the cake. Yeah, let's see what Puff thinks. Vin places the snapper cake in front of Puff. He leans in warily and gives it a few sniffs before eating. After a while, nothing is left to the cake, and even the beef puree has been licked clean by Puff. Puff looks satiated and meows out lazily with content. Wonderful! Looks like this Kit Kat was a success.
당신이 도와줘서 조금 더 손쉽게 만들 수 있었어요.
You and Vin exchange a smile. Suddenly, your phone vibrates with a message from Godfrey Wyatt. Dr. Wyatt says he's home. Let's take Puff home. I'm sure Dr. Wyatt must miss Puff very much.
네.
You hug Puff, who struggles a bit, probably sensing the inevitable parting. In the end, you and Vin put Puff into the cat carriage. Does Puff not want to live either?
그래도 저희가 슈슈에게 아름다운 추억을 만들어줬나 보네요.
I hope Puff will always be such a carefree cat.
꼭 그럴 거예요. 그리고 고 선생님은 이 근처에 사시니 기회가 되면 다시 슈슈를 만날 수 있을 거예요.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.